Okay, good morning everyone, and Hazak Baruch. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Thursday morning as we are studying together Perashat Pekudey. Perashat Pekudey is known as the Perashat of the accounting, where Moshe Rabbeinu gave a detailed, itemized list of everything that was used, that was donated, and where it went to. And this, of course, is very important to be transparent, to have clean hands. We trust Moshe. Hashem trusts Moshe. Hashem writes, Bechol beti ne'eman hu. God says, I trust you. But, unfortunately, not everyone did. And Moshe Rabbeinu, our rabbis tell us, he heard certain letzim, certain scoffers. They were making fun of Moshe. They were accusing Moshe. They're like, yeah, look, Moshe, he's nice and plump, huh? Where do you get that food from? Where do you think he got all that money? So they started making jokes. And Moshe overheard this. So on his own, he started giving a detail. He assembled everyone and said, guys, listen, it's okay. Let me show you where every dollar went. Completely transparent. And again, it's something that maybe you would think Moshe is above. Who are you that I have to answer to you? Me, I would steal money. When you guys were collecting money by the sea, I was collecting Yosef's bones. I was doing mitzvot. I don't want money. But still, he heard it, and therefore he had to prove it. Moshe proved his innocence. So this is our Perashan. Today I want to share with you 3 Ora Hayim Zakadosh. Ora Hayim, and I think we're going to see hopefully at the end that actually these Ora Hayims are very connected one to another. They may seem like they don't have anything to do with each other, but hopefully at the end we'll be able to find a common thread. The first Ora Hayim, and again these are very important Ora Hayim Zakadosh, my friends. They're not only just nice ideas in the parasha, but you're going to see that some of them actually are important to remember anytime you read any pasuk. So look at the first one. We're on chapter 38. Chapter 38, where again we're studying about the donations that were made to the Mishkan, and Moshe is listing everything, how much it totaled, where it went to, and he's showing them. Look, you gave this amount of gold, it went here. You gave the amount of silver, it went there. You gave this amount of materials, it went to that thing. So the parasha lists over here, please turn to chapter 38. And he goes on. The Zahav, it totaled 29 kikar, 730 shekels in the sacred shekel. The silver of the census, the silver, 100 kikar. 1,775 shekels. Okay, so how much silver did we collect altogether? How much silver? Me'at kikar. Okay, remember the number. 100 kikar and 1,775 shekel. Okay, well, what happens? The Torah tells us that Me'at kikar, the 100 kikar, where did they go? Latzeket et adnei hakodesh. They went to be sockets. 100 kikar were sockets for the beams. If you remember, what was the walls made out of? The wall was made out of wood, and the bottom of the wood went into a socket. So the sockets for all around the Mishkan equaled 100 kikar. And then Ve'et ha'elef ushva me'ot v'hamisha v'shiv'im, and the 1,775 remainder, he used vavim la'amudim. He made vavim for the amudim. They were used to be pillars, hooks for the pillars. So how did they hang the curtains on the wood? There were little hooks. I don't know if you knew this. There were hooks coming out of the pillars. Beautiful. So you have a little hook, and that hook was made out of silver. So all the hooks from all around totaled 1,775 shekel. So it seems to be very simple, straightforward pasuk. You have 100 kikar. Again, whatever that number is, it's a amount. It's a weight. Whatever that weight is, 100 kikar weight of silver went and served as the sockets for the Mishkan, and the remainder 1,775 shekel was used to be the vavim, the hooks for the amudim. Ora Hayim, look at this over here. Unbelievable. The pasuk he notices says ve'et ha'elif, and the 1,775. That word the 1,775, that means that they were significant. What was so important about these 1,775 shekels worth of silver? Perush hanisharim, simply it means the leftovers from the 100 kikar, whatever was left. Verabotenu amru, our rabbis tell us, this is in the Midrash, look at this. Sheshechaham, Moshe forgot where they went. I want to read to you the Midrash, a little bit more elaborated. The Midrash writes, Im shehu oseh heshbon, as Moshe is doing this accounting, and again, the reason he's doing this is because there was accusations against him. So Moshe is trying to show that he's innocent. So he starts showing everyone, where's the gold, where's the silver, and all of a sudden, 1,775 shekels of silver slipped his mind. Shachach. Hitchil omed v'tamah. So he started getting very nervous. Amar achshav yimtzeu yedeihem shel Yisrael alai. Now they're gonna be, look, Moshe, he's a thief. Shani natalti otam. Now people are gonna believe the scoffers. So he started looking and looking and looking. Niyad he'ira kadosh baruch hu. All of a sudden Hashem opened his eyes. Moshe, all of a sudden he looked up and he saw the hook sticking out and he said, I got it! The 1,700, they're right there! They're right there. So that's what it means. Ve'et ha'elif, the 1,775, that he forgot where they were. He got nervous for a split second. And all of a sudden he remembered, oh no, that's where they are. Asa mehem vavim. He made vavim. By the way, what's a vav? A vav is a letter. It looks like a hook. Okay? So vav looks like a hook and it means hook. The letter vav means hook. Okay, I don't know if you ever knew that. Every letter means something, you should know. You know, A, B, C doesn't mean anything. Aleph, Bet, Gimel means something. Aleph means something, but Bet, each word means. Vav means a hook. Now you understand why, by the way. First of all, it looks like a hook. And what is the function of a letter Vav? Vav is to hook two things together. Vav, right? It's like and. What is and? And connects. So it's a hook. So the letter Vav means hook and it serves as a hook in its own letter. Now, the Orah Hayim goes on to explain, you know, what exactly, where is the 100 kikar? Was there more? Was there less? But either way, this is the first Orah Hayim that I want to share with you. There was 1,775 extra silver that was lost temporarily, forgotten, and then he remembered where they went. They went to the Mishkan. Okay, they went to the hooks on top of each pillar. Next, the next Orah Hayim is just the next page, chapter 39, pasuk Aleph. The pasuk says, then he starts making from the materials. Techelet argaman tola'at shani asu bigdei serad lesharet b'kodesh. Okay, so they made knitted mantles to serve in the sanctuary. They made the holy garments for Aharon, for his sons. And the pasuk ends off and says, Ka'asher tziva Adonai et Moshe. Just like God commanded Moshe. What does that mean? Just like God commanded Moshe. Interesting way to phrase it. This whole thing is the way God commanded Moshe. Why does it say it here? Okay, so Ta'am omro bechol prat veprat. Orah Hayim wants to know, why does it say it all the time? The way Hashem said Moshe, the way Hashem said Moshe. Look at this, very important Orah Hayim. Al pi ma shekatavnu perashat Tetzaveh. You have to know what we wrote above just a few weeks ago. Ki halak Hashem Moshe. Excuse me. Next one. Here it is. En lecha mitzvah she'en ba pratei hahaskala. You have to know, he says, that there is no mitzvah that does not allude to deeper ideas. Okay? Every mitzvah is a surface level. That's what we call the pshat. And there's deeper. We know this already. We know there's pardes. There's pardes ways to study every pasuk. Every pasuk you can get the pshat of what it's saying. You could get a remez, alluding, drash, homiletics, sod, the Kabbalah. Every single pasuk, it's simply what it's saying, right? As an example, if I'm watching your donkey, and then it gets lost, I have to pay you. Okay, that's simple. Donkey business. Deeper, it's alluding to life. Life, you're the donkey, I'm the guy, I'm watching you. Okay, right? This is where the rabbis get all the remez. Then there's the drash. The drash is now coming and say, right? Okay, so you understand the idea. Everything in the Torah could be understood on multiple levels. And that's true not only of a pasuk, that's every mitzvah. Every mitzvah is multiple levels, multifaceted. Now you should know what's written in the Torah. The Torah shebechtav, what's written, what you see, the text that we read from in the weekly reading. That's a tiny bit. That is a very small piece of God's wisdom. There is so much more that is not written, that was given to Moshe orally. That's called the Torah shebe'al peh. When Hashem gave Moshe the Torah, he wrote down, but the writing, you know what the writing, I think it's a nice, I'll give you a nice example. The writing is like the bullets of a speaker. You ever saw the bullet points? Maybe you give in a speech once. You have bullet points. The bullet points, how many words do you have on a piece of paper? The bullets, maybe 10 words, right? But those 10 words have in them an hour speech, right? Thousands of words. How do you get from 10 words thousands? No, because this word is that's just the acronym. But when I wrote this word, it reminded me to say all of that. The Torah is the bullets. It's the minimum. But every single word is jam-packed with ideas, with wisdom. All the wisdom of the Torah that's not written, but it's hinted to in the written. Kema'amar Rabbi Yochanan Bahniskin. That Rabbi Yochanan says that the majority of the Torah was given orally. Only a small part was written. So the part that we have that's written is a tiny piece of the rest of the entire wisdom of God. Okay, umilvadze. Now let's keep reading. Yesh bechol ma'aseh ma'aseh mishkan mishkal. Same thing with the Mishkan. Everything in the Mishkan alludes to much deeper ideas. Vehu penimit advarim. And the deeper idea represents the innermost nature of the holy matters. Ve'ele ya'asu bekavanat halev u'besilchiliyut hane'elam. These actions were performed with focused intention on their associated hidden meanings. Ve'ya'asu davar b'mino. And in this way, the physical task of building the Mishkan was accomplished together with its spiritual counterpart. Kayadua leod'ei da'at. Like to those that understand the esoteric wisdom. So what is the point of all of this? And now we understand what the Torah writes in every single detail. At the end of every pasuk. Ka'asher tiva Hashem et Moshe. The way God commanded Moshe. What does that mean? It's referring to the instructions that were delivered to Moshe orally, not written explicitly in the Torah. Because of the great significance of these lofty matters, which are revealed only to those who are worthy. That means there are a lot of secrets that God gave Moshe that he didn't write down. He didn't want to write it down. It's dangerous to write it down. People can misunderstand it, can misread it, right? So the Torah was written. Whatever is written is something that everyone could swallow. But then there's a lot of deeper things that regular people cannot handle. So God gave it to Moshe orally. Let me add one more thing he says to you. The written word of the Torah is in a physical form. Okay? That means, how do you write? You write with physical, with a pen, with ink. Okay? That represents the physical. Therefore, the words actually written in the Torah primarily express only the actual physical mitzvah acts that a person performs. Beautiful, gorgeous. Look what he's saying over here. When you shake a lulav, the Torah says shake a lulav. And that represents what you're doing when you're physically shaking. So ink was written to write, physical, to express what you're physically going to do. Shake. The hamuskal, the deeper mystical concepts that are hidden in the Torah, they cannot be expressed in physical writing because they're deeper than physical. So therefore, mixato b'b'chinat ha'efel, they cannot be written down, but they could be conveyed through speech. And some things are so deep they cannot even be expressed through speech, just through thought. Kirahoku b'shtei hadragot. There are two levels beyond speech and must therefore remain in the realm of thought. At any rate, neither type is able to be conveyed in writing, which is why they are not written in the Torah. The deeper layers, they're not able to be written. They cannot be expressed through physical. Uksat ramaz Hashem b'nif'al. But nevertheless, Hashem, He hints to them. He alludes to the mystical knowledge into some small extent. Nir'eh ve'eno nir'eh, with illusions that are seen yet unseen. Besod tzurot ha'otiyot v'ta'amehem ve'atarot she'al rashem hatagim. Wow! What are you saying over here, my friends? The physical words, shake a lulav, that's representing the physical level of what you're doing when you're shaking a lulav. Okay? That's simple. But there's deeper. And that depth is alluded to in the ta'amim, that's the notes. It's alluded to in the tagin, in the crowns that are over the letters. The uma'asehem b'hinad ma'ashava yikra'u. And those represent the thought. V'niglele Moshe b'Sinai pela'e pela'ot. God revealed to Moshe wonder of wonders, embedded really in the Torah. But they're only hinted to very, very faintly. Rabbi Akiva, he gives an example, once expounded 300 laws from the tiny top of the Lamed. Okay? These people were able to really grasp a part of the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So as an example, not all spiritual concepts are on the same level of refinement. Some are only just beyond speech, therefore they can be expressed through speech. Others are above it, and they could be only expressed through thought. But the bottom line is that they're all hinted to in the Torah. So the tagin, as an example, on top of each letter, you'll see in the Torah, if you ever look in the Torah, on top of the letters, it's tiny crowns. And they rest above the letter, right? They represent thought. The letters are more substantial, represent the physical. The vowels represent the speech. Okay? So every mitzvah has many, many, many layers. The physical, the speech, the thoughts, and they're represented to in the actual words. Whether it's what's physically written, or it's the vowels, or it's the tune, or it's the tiny part that's almost not visible. You know, when you stand far, you don't really see the tagin, the little crowns. You don't see the crowns on top of each letter. These are the crowns. Rabbi Akiva, great rabbis like him, were able to see them. Great rabbis like him were able to express them. You know, the main words, the main letters are visible to all. But there's some letters, there's some things that are not written, that only great minds, people that really refine themselves, that they are privy to. And this is what the pasuk means. Ka'asher tzivah Hashem et Moshe. That every item that was built in the Mishkan, maybe it was physically built, but you should know that they were also infused with tremendous amount of deep wisdom that Moshe intended as he created and manufactured. I know it sounds silly maybe to some people, but when you're building something, your thoughts actually are they're being infused into the item that you're building. We know this is true during the moment of intimacy between husband and wife. That the physical act, but there's also the soul of the child. And believe it or not, the soul of the child is going to be impacted by the thoughts that you had during intimacy. Right? That's why it's very important for the thoughts to be pure. Because the same way you're going to create the genes, the genetic code of this kid, what color his hair, his eyes, his height, right? Physically, right? There's genes that we give over to our children, the DNA, but there's also spiritual DNA. And that comes from the machshava. So the machshavot are very important. The intention. When you're saying, we're learning now in the morning, Ben Ish Hai. When you're saying Shema Yisrael, there's so many kavanas to have. So you could you could just say the words, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, right? And that's very, very good. And that's very important. And you understand what you're saying. That God is my God and He's the only one. Okay, but then there's deeper. There's a lot of kavanot that we have to have. And as we grow in life, our meditations have to increase. Our kavanot have to grow. We cannot say the pasuk the same way we said it when we were 5 as we say it when we're 55. We have to grow in our understanding of what we're saying and what we mean when we say it. So this is Ka'asher Tziva Hashem et Moshe. When Moshe built the Mishkan, yes, he built it. There was a plank of wood. You go to Home Depot, you buy a plank of wood. But Moshe's plank of wood was very different than the Home Depot plank of wood, because Moshe's plank of wood was infused with deep, deep understanding. Kavana that he put into the wood. Okay? Now again, I don't know what they are. It doesn't say. But there are rabbis today that do know what they are. There are rabbis today that are very holy, that they're able to tap into the deeper than just the physical. They understand the notes. The notes are very deep. When the Hazan reads it on Shabbat in the Torah, Vayomer Amonai, right? Whatever it is, that's not a random note. You know, that there's a reason that this word is Vayomer, and then that word is Amonai. Is that nothing? It's deep. Now again, for the masses, we don't understand what they're saying, which is maybe why if the guy makes a mistake, then we let it go, because it's for the masses very deep, not important. But at least the words cannot be messed up, because the words relate to everybody. He cannot mess up that. That's the basic. Okay, so this is Ora Hayim number 2. Now I told you we have 3, and then we're going to try to connect all of them. Ora Hayim number 3. Again, very important. All of them are important. This one is warms the heart. Pasuk says, chapter 39, Pasuk 32. Vatechel kol avodat mishkan ohel moed. All the work of the Mishkan ended. Okay? So just get a quick timeline over here, my friends. If you're following, basically, Moshe came down from Har Sinai on Yom Kippur. The next day they started donating all the materials. The gold, the silver, the linens, all the materials. 15, however many items that they listed. Okay? Then they started building it just a few days later. Okay? They started building the Mishkan. They started actually on Sukkot. Okay? So, from the 15th of the month of Tishri, they're building Tishri, Heshvan, all of a sudden Kislev, it finished. So they built it for 2 months, 2.5 months, they're building the Mishkan, and now it's done. And this is our pasuk. Vatechel kol avodat Mishkan ohel moed, vaya'asu b'nei Yisrael kechol asher tziva Hashem et Moshe ken asu. And the Jewish people did everything that they were commanded. Beautiful. So they're done. They're finished. Now we know that although they were done, they didn't actually open it until 3 months later. Why? Why did they wait? They waited. Rabbi Ora Hayim explains why they waited. Hashem wanted that opening day should coincide with when Yitzchak was born, which again, deeper idea over there. But whatever it means, they finished in the middle of the winter. They finished, let's say, December, but they didn't start until Rosh Chodesh Nisan, which is going to be in 3 weeks from today. 3 weeks, okay? So they didn't start building the Mishkan. They didn't start actually using it. So they finished it. You can imagine people's excitement. No, put it on hold. And this is when next week's Perashah, Vayikra, the new book, this is, by the way, Pekudey is the last Perashah of the book of Exodus, Shemot. And now Exodus is over, which is interesting. Although we're not in Israel yet, we're still in Chutz La'aretz. But Geulah already started once we had a Mishkan. We had a building, and there's something deep in that idea, in that lesson, that to be a Jewish people, we didn't necessarily need a land of Israel. What makes us a people is that we revolve around Hashem, our synagogues. That's a beautiful idea. But once we finish building the Mishkan in this week's Parashah, so next week, Vayikra el Moshe, God calls to Moshe. He says, okay, Moshe, we're ready. And that day was Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Okay, Rosh Chodesh Nisan, according to most opinions, he called out to Moshe, and he came, and they started actually using the Mishkan. But here, our pasuk, Vatechel kol avodat Mishkan ohel moed. They finished building everything. Vayasu b'nei Yisrael kechol asher tzivah Hashem Moshe. Never did like everything that was commanded to Moshe. Now, Or HaHaim over here, he asks an interesting question. Hagam shelo asa ela Betzalel v'chachmei lev. What do you mean? They finished what Bnei Israel did. Bnei Israel? That's a little bit exaggerated. All of the Jewish people, they didn't build it. Who built it? Betzalel built it. A few guys built it. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a guy spends all this time and energy and wisdom to building the house of God, and then when it's over, they say, wow, Jewish people, great job, everyone. Hazak u'baruch to all of you. What do you mean? Me! Betzalel did it. His few guys that were with him, the Chachmei Lev. Who knitted? Who made the drapings? The roof? Who did all of the tapestries? It was the women, and very smart women, not all the women. Yet, the Torah acts as if everyone did it. So simply says the Or HaHaim, Shluho shel Adam kemoto, ukilu kol Yisrael asu. So simply it means that since he's our messenger, we paid you to do it. So it's like a guy says, I built this house. You didn't build it. You hired a contractor. Yeah, but I hired him. He worked for me. So it's like I built it. Okay, fine. Od nir'eh. Look at this. Ki kan asa katuv mahberet haklalut b'kiyum Torah. Over here, the Torah is establishing that there's a bond between all the Jewish people in fulfilling the Torah. We spoke about this just a few weeks ago. Ve'her'a ki bnei Israel yizaku zeh lazeh. The Jewish people actually merit each other. The Torah could only be performed through everyone together. Everyone has to do what they can. And then they will be able to merit to each other through their own actions. Meaning, he's going to elaborate in a minute, but every person needs another person next to them. We can never succeed alone, whether it's in a business, whether it's building a family, and for sure over here, for fulfilling the Torah. Wow. Now you understand the depth of the pasuk. Love your fellow like yourself. What does it mean, love your fellow like yourself? Perush letzad shehu kemotcha. Because he is yourself. Because he's bound to you. Bishlumo yetiv lecha. Through his well-being, you will benefit. Through him, you will achieve your own spiritual completion. So when you love someone else, you're not really loving him. Right? You're loving yourself. Wow, this is so deep. What he's saying over here, is not love your fellow like yourself. It's love your fellow because he is yourself. He is you, and you are him, and you need him. Your right hand and your left hand, they're part of the same body. Could we understand that I need every other Jew, and every other Jew needs me, and we're one team? And on a football, in a game, the offense needs the defense needs the offense. If only one shows up, the other team is missing. The other half is going to be lacking. So, ve'ahavta l're'acha kamocha doesn't mean love your fellow like yourself. It means love your fellow because you have to realize that he is part of yourself. He is you. That's something very deep. That's something to just stop for a minute, to pause the video if you can, to just think about that idea, that every person needs other people. Ubazeh matzanu nachat ruach, ki Hashem tzevat haryag mizvot. We know that God commanded 6:13. There's no way for one person to do all 6:13. Think about Kohen, Levi, Israel, Nashim, men, women, Kohen, Levi, Israel. Yesh mitzvot aseh b'kohanim. Some Kohanim could do that Israel cannot, and some Israel could do that Kohanim cannot, and Leviim and women. I'll give you an example. Okay, just a quick example. Kohanim are able to bring sacrifices. Okay, Israelim are the only ones that could do pidyon haben. That's one of the 613. That's the redeeming of the firstborn son. Only Israelim. Leviim are the only ones that they could do certain avodah. Women are the only ones that can bring a korban after giving birth. Right? Men cannot do that. Men do not give birth. So every single group has its mitzvot. So how am I, a Yisrael male, supposed to do all 613? There's no one that can do all 613. You can't be all of the above. Therefore, how is one Jew going to fulfill his mitzvot, which are actually connected to spiritually, the 365 sinews and the 248 limbs? It must be it's fulfilled through everyone together. When you do a mitzvah, I get part of that mitzvah. And that's what our pasuk is saying over here. All the Jews build the Mishkan. What do you mean all the Jews? Betzalel did it. No. Hagam shemehem heviu. You had some people that donated. Some people were the wealthy ones. They gave money. Other people weren't wealthy, but they were good with their hands. They manufactured. Therefore, everyone together build the Mishkan. Wow, my friends, this is what it means to be a team. A team is understanding it's something that you need to do that I can't do. And it's something that I need to do that you can't. Right? And each one of us has our own role. And so much of happiness of life comes when you're clear on what's your role. Simha comes, the word simha comes from the word someach. Someach means to grow, to accomplish. Right? Vegetation grows. To be besimha, I have to grow. When I'm growing, that's besimha. And I could grow, and you could grow, but it's about understanding what's my function. Where am I needed over here? Sadness comes when I stop growing. When I start looking over my shoulder at how you're growing and I'm not growing. That's where sadness comes from. But when I'm doing my best to grow, that's true simha. When I'm clear on what's my role. By the way, it's not so easy to see. Where is my growing meant to be? Today a lot of people are just stuck on their phone, just scrolling, watching other people just crush it, watching other people succeed, watching other people do amazing, watching others grow. You don't feel happy like that. You feel happy when you grow, right? Athletes are happy when they're growing, when they have a mission, when they have a goal, when they have, right, and they achieve it. But that's not how you grow. You grow by doing what you're supposed to do. And every person is given something unique. Some people were blessed with money, so they donated to the Mishkan. Others don't have money, but they have hands. And I have to know for myself, where is my role in all of this? Right? That's where happiness is found. When I understand what's my purpose here. When I understand what I'm meant to achieve over here. When I understand what's my function here. A person that's in a place and they don't know where they fit in all of this. That's very sad. It's very hard to be besimcha like that. When I'm lost and I'm confused and I see him doing great and him doing great and him doing great and I'm not doing great. And that's sadness. Simcha comes from understanding what are my tools, what gifts did Hashem give me, and how can I use them? When I have that clarity, then I can be besimcha. Because I understand my job on this team. Right? When I know. Now, sometimes it's easier to know what your job is. You are hired to be X. You are hired to be Y. Right? Think about a football team. You are the kicker. So when you know your job is to kick the ball, very clear, you can be very happy. But sometimes you don't know what your role is. It's very vague. And you're trying to find it. When you have clarity of what you're here to do, that clarity, by the way, that's something to pray for. When you pray, you got to pray, Hashem, please give me clarity. I want to know what's my role in this world. Please help me find it. When you find it, that's besimcha. Every day we say the Kedusha. We say the angels, Kulam ahuvim. They all love each other. They all love each other. Isn't that amazing if one day we could get to that level that I love every Jew? That I don't see a Jew as my competition, but I see him as my teammate. I'm not here to fight. It's not me versus you. We're on the same team, dude. Right? And the angels reach that level. The angels understand. Kulam ahuvim. They all love each other. You know why? Because kulam berurim. Because they're all clear. Barur, clear. They have clarity. They know what they're here for. They know what they're sent down to do. Every angel has one mission. Every angel knows his mission. There's a lot of simcha in life when you have that. When you know what your job is. If only, right, Hashem could come and say, Ariel, this is your job. Do it. Go and, this is what I want you to do. We don't have Hashem today clarity like that. We don't have prophets. So one has to really spend time alone, maybe with a rabbi or a mentor, maybe with your spouse, to open, to see what's our toolbox. What gifts did Hashem give me? When I have that clarity, when I have the berurim, then, by the way, I can love you. Because I know what I'm here to do. I'm not jealous of you. Because you're good at what you do and I'm going to be good at what I do. Jealousy comes because I'm not angry at you. Really, jealousy is I'm angry at myself. I'm pointing it out at you. But really, when I'm jealous of somebody, it's because really I myself have a problem inward. I don't know where I fit into the circle of life. I haven't found my place in the circle of life. When I find my place, when I know right where I fit, then I can be very happy with you and 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 you. And it has nothing to do with being on top. Yosef HaTzadik was never on top. Something interesting. Fact. Yosef was always a number 2 man. You ever thought about that? Think about Yosef. Yosef was always a number 2 guy. Yosef was second to Potiphar. He was second in the jail cell. He was second to King Paro. But Yosef knew he's the second guy. That's me. I'm a number 2 man. I'm not a number 1 guy. I'm a number 2 guy. And he was an amazing number 2 guy. And guess what? Because of that, he was the best guy in history. Because he was the best number 2. So it's not about being number 1. It's about being the best at what you can do. When you could find that, and appreciate that and find clarity in that, that's how you succeed. That's how people grow. That's how people, become great. But it's about finding what's my gift. The Chafetz Chaim, he once saw a man on Yom Kippur, a rich man. He was staying up late reading Tehillim, the night of Kal Nidre. So Chafetz Chaim went over to this guy and he said, close the Tehillim, go home and sleep. And the man said, what do you mean, Rabbi? I want to read Tehillim, it's Yom Kippur. Chafetz Chaim says, listen, I know you. You're going to stay up tonight reading Tehillim, like last year, and you're going to go to sleep late, and you're going to wake up late. And when we're having the drive in the shul, which we do once a year on Yom Kippur, you're going to not be here. And you were given money. Your job is to support. Your job is to create a bar, to set a bar. Your job is to push people to give. You give, people will give. Your job is to be here early tomorrow. The Tehillim, tonight, that's for the poor people that don't need to give, that they can't give, right? Everyone in the world, it's like an army. You have to know what tool were you given. One guy has a rifle. One guy has a machine gun. One guy is a sniper. One guy is in the Navy. One guy is in the Air Force. One guy has a jet. The guy in the Navy doesn't have an airplane. He doesn't have a jet because he's in the Navy. The guy in the Air Force doesn't have a swimsuit because he's Air Force. Everyone has, right? Hashem gave everyone what they need for their specific unit, for their role, for their mission. And everyone has to find that. What's my mission? And based on and I could find that based on what Hashem gave me. What did Hashem give you? What are you good at? Are you good at speaking to people? Are you good at listening to people? Are you good with maybe your time? Maybe you were blessed with money. What were you blessed with? Right? Everyone was blessed with something, many things. And finding your blessing and then understanding this is your tool and this is your responsibility to go out and to give it to everyone to everyone in the world. Now, the reason sometimes it's hard is because some roles, some positions get more kavod than others, right? And this is where ego comes into the picture. A guy in the Air Force gets a lot more credit and respect than somebody who's in the infantry. So that's where sometimes it's hard for me to be happy with my position because I wish I had a bigger position. I had a different position. Because look, your position gets much more applause. Your position gets much more respect. But that's our problem. That's ego. In Hashem's eyes, I promise you, the guy in the Air Force and the infantry are the same. In Hashem's eyes, they're the same. And one is not bigger than the other. And that's why the tzaddikim sit around Hashem in a circle. What does that mean, a circle? A circle, every point is equidistant to the middle. When you're in the circle, you're the same. Doesn't matter if you were Air Force, doesn't matter if you were there, doesn't matter if you were there, right? So in this world that we live in, the guy with a lot of money gets a lot of kavod. The guy who sits reading Tehillim all day, maybe doesn't. But if that's what you're here to do, then guess what? In Hashem's eyes, you're the same. You're shavim, you're equal. And it requires a lot of, again, working on our midot, on arrogance, on humility, to be able to say, okay, stop with the external, superficial, getting the honor part of it, and just focus on doing what you're supposed to do part of it. And sometimes it's actually self-fulfilling. Because we're so miserable trying to get kavod, we don't succeed in what we're supposed to be succeeding in, and then we even get less kavod than we should have gotten if we were just very good at what we did. Yosef never cared that he didn't get kavod. Yosef just said, just do what you got to do, just be good at it, and that's it. And what ended up happening is that he ended up getting a lot of kavod by being a very good number two. So to succeed, we have to remember we have our tools, and this is what the Or HaHaim is saying. Everyone has a role. Everyone is important. Some people are Kohanim, some people are Leviim, some people are Yisraelim, some people are males, some people are females, and everyone has to know, when I do my role, then so much of today's Me Too movement and women and gender, all of that comes because of a lack of understanding. I have a role to fulfill. I have a role to play. And it comes because maybe some people don't feel like they get enough recognition in that role. They don't get enough honor in their role. Other people get more honor. But the Torah is saying, right, shekulim. In Hashem's eyes, they're all equal. I need you, and I need you, and I need you, and I need you, all equally. You need a Kohen. You need a Levi. You need Israel. You need men. You need women. And when it came to building the Mishkan, you needed people with money that made the donations. You need people that didn't have money but were good with their hands. And when I know what did God give me, I'll know how I'm supposed to be, of service. I know where is my role in all of this. But I have to use what God gave me. If a guy doesn't have money, but he tries to be the guy who's giving, you're doing the wrong thing right now. Of course, you have to give. You have to give tzedakah. Everyone has to give. But that's not your mitzvah. Give, but that's not what you were sent to do. You were sent to something else. And guess what? At the end of it all, when all is said and done, Vaya'asu Bnei Yisrael. You know who built the Mishkan? Not Betzalel. You know who made the donations? Not the rich Nesi'im. You know who did it? Bnei Yisrael. The team. The Jewish team. Team J. Okay, J team. We, the Jewish people, build the Mishkan. All of us together. We build it. Who won the Super Bowl? Not Mahomes and not Kelsey. It was the Chiefs. They won. They won. Not an individual. Individuals don't win. Teams win. When we are a team, Bnei Israel, and this is the pasuk. Go back and read the pasuk now. Pasuk 32. Vatechel kol avodat mishkan ohel moed. All of the work was finished. And who did it? Vaya'asu Bnei Israel. Wow. The Bnei Israel, they are the ones that did it. And I think this connects very nicely to how we started today's class. I told you we have 3 ideas. And I told you that we're going to try to find a theme connecting all of them. Do you remember what we started today's class with? We started today's class with the letter Vav. The 1,700, right? Et ha'elef u'shva me'ot. What was it? 1,700 and? I forgot. V'hamisha v'shiv'im. 1,775. Remember Moshe, he forgot where they went? 1,775 shekels of silver. Where'd they go? And we said that they went to be the Vavim. They were the little hooks. And I think that's a little bit, or a lot of it, connecting to what we're talking about right now. There's a lot of, the 600, right? Each Jew, where did the silver come from? Each Jew gave a half shekel. And if you do the math, there's 603,550 people. If you do the math, 603,550 half shekels, Rashi explains that equals 300,000 which is 1 kikar, plus 3,550. It's amazing. You hear what's going on? The 100 kikar represents 600,000 Jews. Now, when I ask you how many Jews were in the desert, 600,000. Wrong! There was 600,000 plus 3,550. Yeah, whatever, we're rounding it off. That's the point. There's many Jews that are the 600,000. They are very clear on where they're here, what they're here for, what their purpose is. These are the Jews that represent the sockets. They're visible, you could see them. They're the silver sockets that were there for the Mishkan. Very clear. But then there's the 1,775 shekels of silver. And even Moshe didn't know where they are. They represent sometimes the Jews that are maybe not performing, that are not shining, that it's hard to see them. They don't look like they're contributing much. Where are they? And then Moshe remembered, they're the little hooks. They're also very important. They play a role. They may not be the pillar. They may not be in the Mishkan. Actually, the hook stuck out of the Mishkan. You ever notice that? The hook sticks out of the Mishkan. But they're part of the Mishkan. And this is the second Orah Hayim that we saw today. That you have letters, and then you have the vowels, and then you have the little crowns. Some are visible, some we read, some we don't read, some we understand, some we don't understand. But they're all part of the story. They're all important. And these vavim, these little hooks, like the little crowns on top of the letters, they're all part of Hashem's team. And they're all important to the story of our history. They're all playing a very important role. So I think this is the underlying theme that really connects these three Orah Hayims together. May Hashem bless us in this month of Hadar, of Simcha, to be able to really understand where is our role in all of this. What are the gifts that Hashem gave me? To be able to understand that even if I'm not one of the 600,000, I'm one of the 603,350. I may not be part of the pillars. I'm a hook, and a hook is important. And guess what? The Mishkan without a hook is not kosher. And in the beginning, Moshe forgot about these little hooks, right? He forgot about them. Where are they? Oh, wow. But then he remembered, he looked up and he said, they're right there. They're very important. And when he got the Torah, he went up to Shamayim and he saw Rabbi Akiva expounding every single one of those little hooks, every one of those little crowns that are on top of the letters. Some people in this world, they're a letter, right? Some important people. Hacham Uvadia Yosef, he was a letter, I have no doubt. He was a full letter, probably a whole pasuk, just that one guy by himself, right? But there are some people that are not letters. But guess what? You're a crown. You're still a player. Maybe you're a vowel. Maybe you're a note. Maybe, right? And when we understand that, then guess what? At the end of it all, Vayasu kol bnei Israel. In Shamayim, it's not Hacham Uvadia, it's not Moshe Rabbeinu, it's the Jewish people. And if we step up and we do our best, we make it into that circle. And it's no longer Betzalel. It's no longer an individual. We're all one body. We're all one team. When I understand that, when I appreciate that, when I can step up and be that role and fulfill that to the best of my abilities, then we are part of the team of Vayasu Kol Bnei Israel. Okay, my friends, we'll stop over here. Have a wonderful day, and hopefully we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.